He stopped and stared at me like I was crazy. This is the conversation on the other side of the phone with my client who, about a week earlier, had come in because she had a fear of crowds. So much so that there was this severe anxiety that would show up. She would have shaking. She would have panic attacks at certain times. And so she's on the other side of the phone and she's telling me the story of how she and her husband had gone out. I think they were in like a marina and there was a certain store that she wanted to go into. And she was telling me that her husband asked, "Hey, should I go with you?" She's like, "Oh no, it's not a big deal. I got this." And she walks into the store. She's in there for however long she was, and she comes back out and he's standing there staring at her thinking, "How did you do that?" There was fear that had been in her for years, and her life had pretty much been about the size of the box of her house, and that was it. And yet she had overcome that fear in a very powerful way. Hi, I'm Nathan Gist. This is Fredericksburg Hypnosis. And perhaps for you, maybe there's a fear that's kind of there in your life. It's the conversation that I had with, actually she's in law enforcement, former military as well. And yet there was this fear of spiders that would show up for her. I mean, she would literally chase down the criminal, arrest them. Sometimes guys were 2 times her size. But when it came to a spider, there was this visceral reaction in her, this physical fear that would show up that had been there since she was a kid. And yet she was able to overcome that fear. The great thing about your mind is that it's adaptable, it's flexible, that you can change the way that you feel and think about not just the things around us, but the way that you feel about yourself as well. See, fear's there for a reason. It's just we have to make sure that it's in the right context and actually at that level that it needs to be as well. Right? When that bill shows up, yeah, a little, maybe not, it's not the greatest thing in the world, but to set off an anxiety attack within you doesn't need to be there. And so part of the process together is we begin to look at different ways to overcome that fear. One, utilizing your body and the way that you physically move and are around whatever that thing might be, but then also within your mind as well. Understanding that overcoming fear is a possibility for you. And if you're ready to take that first step, let's have that conversation.